How to overcome your difficulties. Hi, I'm Elijah Hedgeman, and as all of you know, 21 years old, faced many difficult things in my life, whether it's because of my disabilities, difficult people, and I don't think I'm the only one. A lot of us out there struggle with difficulties, struggle with differences, struggle with problems that sometimes we just don't know how to solve. But it becomes a lot harder to do that when it's not necessarily differences because of a disability or something else. And that's not to say that dealing with a disability that makes you different or dealing with a disability that makes things difficult isn't hard. It is. And I will acknowledge that. It definitely is. And we've talked about that before here. But dealing with difficult people, well, that can sometimes be just as bad, if not worse. So the question then is, how do you do that? You can do that in many different ways. That all depends on what's going on. Are you dealing with a difficult friend? Are you dealing with a difficult stranger, a difficult family member? Maybe you're dealing with a difficult person in politics. You can be dealing with a bunch of difficult people. And they can all be from different scenarios. And maybe sometimes you can fix those problems and work through those differences with whomever you're talking to in the same way. But that won't always be the case. Whether it's because some people are stubborn, whether it's because some people just work differently, therefore you have to approach them differently, or maybe some people are just, kind of like I said, stubborn, but in this case, too stubborn to listen regardless. So I'll start off with the easiest one. When it comes to some people that are difficult in your life, whether you're close to them or not, sometimes you just have to let them go. And trust me, take it from someone who has a hard time doing that himself. Especially if that person is someone I'm close to. It's never easy to let go of someone if you're close to them, even if you're having a difficulty with them. Even if they're causing you stress, or even if they're just someone who has a different outlook than you. If they're close to you, it makes it hard to just say, hey, I'm sorry, but we can't be friends anymore, or we can't be around each other anymore because of so and so. That's never easy, but sometimes it does have to happen. Now, the next one. How do you deal with difficult people when you don't already have a relationship with them, romantic or not? Well, simple. Why are you having those difficulties with them? Ask yourself that question. Then ask yourself, is it something where I, as in you, the person talking to yourself, can meet in the middle with this person that I'm having a difficult issue with? And is it something that I can come to a compromise with them? Or is it something that we actually need to solve one way or another? Because sometimes you may not realize it, but if you ask yourself that question, the answer might be right there depending on what you have to do. Do you have to meet in the middle with them? Is it a situation where both of you are fighting, or just arguing, or maybe just not seeing eye to eye on? And I'm saying it like that because those three things can be different. When you're fighting, maybe it can be physical. When you're arguing, maybe it can be emotional. When you're not seeing eye to eye, maybe it can just be a mental thing because of how both you and the other said person have a different outlook on things. So ask yourself that. What type of situation is it? Then ask yourself, how deep does it go? Then tell yourself, I can do this. I can make it through this. Motivate yourself to be able to fix the problem in the first place, because depending on how deep that problem goes, you may not even know if you can fix it. Maybe you just don't have the strength anymore. Maybe you're just tired of fighting. Or maybe there are so many people around you telling you that you can't do it that you just start believing that. And as I've said before in so many of my other talks, that right there is not true. And yes, I know, that's not always easy to believe. Trust me, I get it. I still suffer from that myself a lot. It's not always easy to believe that you can be the person to fix things. Whether it's because of something in your past or people telling you that, it isn't easy. We're all human. We have those fears. We have those self-doubts. But you have to be willing to try to work through those self-doubts and those fears in order to fix the problem. So, tell yourself, I will fix this problem. I don't know how, but I will fix this problem. I will overcome this difficulty. Now, then ask yourself, what do you have to do that? Can you compromise? Or do you have to actually change, whether it's you or the other person in the scenario? If changing for you, when it comes to the change part, let's focus on that. If changing for you means that you have to give up all of your morals and you have to become someone you're not, well then, I think you and I both know that's not something that you can do. Now, it is technically, but should you do that? And the answer is no. If you changing means that you have to give up your core personality, who you are, and if your core personality is something that isn't considered bad, as in, let's say, this might sound weird, but for some people who are egotistical or arrogant, if they know that their core personality is like that and it makes everyone else uncomfortable, and maybe they're okay with it, but they're starting to realize everyone else isn't, and they want to change, well, then I say do it. It's not easy, but you can if you try. But if you have a good sense of character, and changing yourself means you have to become someone bad in order to fix the problem, or become someone that you know you're uncomfortable with becoming to fix the problem, you should never have to do that to yourself. So then ask yourself, if that's the case, throw that one out the window. It's gone. Boom. Now ask yourself, how do I compromise with this person? What do I have to do on my end to compromise? And once you figure it out, that's when you need to have that talk with that person. After you have that talk, start trying to remember where the talk went. Did it go good? Did it go bad? If it went bad, maybe give yourself some time to think over what happened. And after you do that, reflect. Reflect even more until you really understand. And after you do that, wait a while and then come back to try to bring it up again and have that same conversation. If it goes good the second time, well then, awesome. Now you and that person both know what happened. And maybe you now know how to compromise. Once you know that, start remembering that conversation anytime this happens again. Remember the compromise that you came up with in order to fix the problem. Once you do that, it should be pretty easy. Solving stuff with difficult people isn't always going to be easy. Sometimes, again, you just have to be willing to let that person go. Not everyone is always meant to stay in our lives. But for the people who are, you have to be willing to go through those tough times with them. Because in the end, those tough times might just end up bringing you and that person closer than before. Because during those tough times, even if you don't realize it, both of you changed. Both of you became someone different. And maybe becoming someone different was what needed to happen in order for you and that person to become better. So when you don't need to drop the people in your life, remember, change and compromise. That goes a long way. You can do this. You will do this. And when you feel you can't, tell yourself you can. Motivate yourself to be able to do so. It's not going to be easy, but nothing in life ever is. And hey, I believe in you. But what matters more is, do you believe in yourself? As I always say, if you don't, well, then it doesn't matter how many people believe in you. Take it from someone again who struggles with that himself. This is the real me. Someone who doesn't always believe in himself and sometimes has to be willing to start motivating himself. So I hear you. I understand you. No one is perfect. No one is ever going to believe in themselves truly all the time. But that's why we motivate ourselves, and that's why we have people motivate us. You can do it. I believe in you. So whenever you forget how to fix a difficulty with someone or how to solve a problem with someone, remember this. Come back to it. Listen to it. And hopefully it helps you. Love you guys, and peace out.